So in the last session, we have discussed about the arrays, and we have discussed what exactly an array, what is the use, how can we define an array, and how can we assign the elements to the array partitions, and how can we retrieve the elements from the array partitions we have discussed. So that already we have discussed. When coming to the arrays, arrays are nothing but the collections which can hold a group of similar type of elements. Arrays are also like as a collection. That means which will be holding some group of elements are there. The collection of elements are there, but all the elements will be of same type. That means similar data type of elements we can store inside the array. Okay, we can store similar data type of elements inside the array. Now, whenever if I am storing the value inside an element, the element can hold only one value, not multiple. But sometimes if you want to store the multiple elements inside a single variable, then we can go with the help of the feature called as arrays. Now, so let me give you the note point over here, arrays. Arrays are used to hold a collection of homogeneous elements. A collection of homogeneous elements. That is, arrays can store a collection of similar data type elements. It can store a collection of similar data type elements. So we can't store the heterogeneous elements. Inside the array. Heterogeneous elements means what? Different types of elements. Different data type elements. We can't store the different data type elements inside the array. Now, in this case here, while creating the array, we have to specify the size. Specify the size which describes the number of elements. Number of elements can be held inside the array. Number of elements can be held inside the array. While creating the array, we have to specify the array size, which will be indicating how many number of elements inside that array. Now, we can't increase or decrease the array size at one time. We can't increase or decrease the array size at one time. So now whatever the array is available, that array size, we can't increase and we can't decrease that array size at one time. There is no such possibility. Now in this case, what is the problem in this case? Suppose for example, I have defined an array like as some integer, some customer codes equals to new integer of some 200. That means this array can store 200 integer elements. This array can store 200 integer elements inside this. Suppose for example, I'm storing the elements like this. Customer codes. Customer codes of 0 equals to okay, 11, okay, 90045. There is one element I have stored. Customer codes of 1. I'm assigning the value 6677. customer codes of 2. I'm assigning the value 9900. Only these three elements I have stored. But whatever the remaining 197 elements memory location, that will be waste. That will be waste automatically. That means what? Whenever I'm going to be defining the array, automatically memory will be getting reserved. Immediately the memory will be getting reserved for my array elements here. So now if you are not using that memory, the memory will be getting waste. So now whenever I'm defining this array, how much memory will be getting allocated? 200 into 4. How much memory, how many bytes of memory? 800 bytes of memory will be getting allocated. But how many elements I have stored? 3 elements. For this one, 4 bytes of memory. For this one, 4 bytes of memory. For this one, 4 bytes of memory. That means totally 12 bytes of memory I have used. Okay, I have used only 12 bytes of memory. Then whatever the remaining memory, waste. This is a major problem. In arrays causes the memory wastage. Okay, arrays causes a memory wastage. Why? Because is array size can't be grow, array size can't be shrink at runtime. That means grow and shrink means what? We can't increase, we can't decrease the size at runtime. So because of that problem, so now arrays are causing the memory wastage. Okay, now arrays causes the memory wastage. Arrays causes the memory wastage. Then how can we identify each and every element inside the array? Each element inside the array will be identified by using an index position starting from 0. Array indexes are always starting from the index position 0. Array index positions are always starting from 0. Now each element inside the array will be identified by using array name along with the index position. Array name along with the index position. Each and every array element can be identified by using array name along with the index position. Now, in this case, the syntax. Let me give the syntax over here. This is the syntax. Now, for example, I'm indicating I want to store some 10 integer elements over here. Now, in this case, I can specify integer customer codes equals to new integer of some 10. Now tell me what this array can store. This array can store 10 integer elements over here. It can hold 10 integer elements. Next one, string array. String some country names equals to new string of some 200. That means what? What this array can store? This array can hold 200 string elements. 200 string elements. Not more than that. I'm indicating ID array. That means I want to store some collection of record IDs. Record IDs equals to new ID. New ID of some 5. So how many record IDs it can store? 5 record IDs. It can hold 5 record IDs. Now, in this case, we can able to store the 5 record IDs inside this. Now, for example, assume that I want to store some account records. So I'm indicating account. You know that a subject data types already we have discussed. Account, ACC records. I'm indicating that ACC record. This is my array name. New account of some 25. That means what? What is the meaning of this array? This array can store 25 account records. It can hold 25 account records. I'm indicating the cases array. Case records equals to new case are some 50. So this can hold 50 case records. It can hold 50 case records. And then I want to store some position records here. Position underscore C. Position records. I'm giving the array name as position records. New position underscore C of some 70. So this array can store what? 70 position records inside this. It can hold 70 position records. 70 position records. I'm indicating like some loan object. Loan underscore C. Loan records equals to new loan. I'm indicating like as some 100. So it can able to store 100 loan records. It holds 100 loan records. That means loan object records. Like that, we have to define the array. So when come to the array, upon defining the array, we have to specify the data type, which describes what type of element the array can hold. Okay, which describes what type of elements the array can hold that we can able to indicate. Along with that, we have to indicate how many number of elements you would like to store. So we have to indicate the size. Without the size, we can't define the array. That's the problem. Without the size, we can't define that array here. Now, so in this case, how can we define the array? How can we assign the elements over here? Now let's see. Assigning the elements. How can we assign the elements? Now let's see practically in this case. We can assign this to array as below. We have to follow the syntax. Array name and the index position equals to value. Equals to value. For example, I'm indicating like this. This is an example. Like that. Here we can able to define the array and we can able to assign the values. Assume that I'm indicating like a something. Okay. We can define the array and we can assign the values for this array based on the array name and the index position. Next one. Retrieving the array elements. We can retrieve the array elements as below. Syntax is array name along with index position. Array name along with index position. For example, customer code is customer codes are 0. Like that. So this is how we are going to be defining the array, and then we are assigning some elements, and then we can retrieve the elements from that array also. This is the way we have to follow. Now let's see a practical example in this one. How can we define the array? How can we store the elements? How to retrieve the elements? We'll see practically in this case. Now, now let's see how can we define an array, how to store the elements, how to retrieve the elements. We'll see practically in this case. Let's go with that practical part. Now, so let me define an array over here. I'm defining an array. I'm giving the comments also so that you can understand more. I'm defining an array to store customer codes. Customer codes will be of integer type. Integer customer codes equals to new integer of some 5. Customer codes is an array name which will be holding a collection of elements of type integer. How many 5 elements it can able to hold inside this? Now, so I'm defining an array. I want to know what elements will be storing inside this array right now. That I already told you in the previous session. Whenever we are going to be defining an array here, upon writing that statement, it is going to be allocating the memory. The memory will be dividing to the various equal partitions. Every partition will be identified by using the index position starting from 0, and then by default it will be having the value as null. In the previous session already we have discussed about this concept as well. Now, so now the same thing is happening or not really, I want to know. I want the practical proof. For that one, what I want to do is I want to print the array elements. Print the array elements. I'm printing that system.debug customer codes. Or I want to show that. I'm displaying this array customer codes. Whenever I'm giving the array name, all the elements will be getting printed in a single row side by side. We're separating a comma. So whatever the elements are available inside this array, all the elements will be getting printed in one row itself. But have we isn't any values as of now? No. We haven't assigned any values as of now. Okay, we haven't assigned any values here as of now because just I have defined the array, but I haven't stored any values inside it. So that by default it is going to storing the default value as null. That means 5 null values will be storing inside the array index positions. But I want the confirmation whether it is storing the values of null or not. I want that practical proof. Then how can we do that? Let's execute this piece of code. See the results. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating 5 null elements has been stored inside this. Okay, it has stored 5 null elements inside this. So it has prepared 5 partitions. In each and every partition, it is storing the default value as null. So that's what it is showing, that all the null values over here inside this. Now, so now in this case, how can we assign the elements to this array? Now let's see. I don't want to hold these null values inside my array. I want to assign some values for each and every partition. Because here I'm having 5 partitions are there starting from 0 to 4 because my array size is 5. So that here I want to assign the partition. I want to store the value for each and every partition. How can we assign? Assigning the values. Assigning the values. Now we can specify customer ports of 0. I'm assigning the value 5600. Customer ports of 1. I'm assigning 4567. Customer ports of 2. 9900. Customer ports of 3. I'm indicating 5644. Customer ports of 4. I'm indicating 7788. These are the 5 elements I have stored inside my array. Okay, inside my array, I have stored these 5 elements. So once these elements have been getting assigned, then how can we print these elements? Now let's see. System.debug customer codes are. I want to show this customer codes. But here I'm giving a line break over here. For our confirmation, I'm giving a line break. So now here I'm going to be assigning the values for these elements over here. Now, so I'm going to be assigning the elements for this array, and then I'm printing those elements. Now let's execute this one so that now it should not print the values null, it has to print the values which are assigned over here. Click on execute. See the results. Select the debug only checkbox, and then it is printing this customer codes are. These are the customer codes are available here. Whatever the values I have assigned, those values are getting printed over here. Next. After that, now let's see. In this case, I'm printing these elements here. I'm assigning the values. I'm printing all the elements. But I don't want to print all the elements separate in a single row. I want to print separately. That means 5600 into a separate line, and then 4567 into a separate line, 9900 into a separate line. Like that, each and every element I want to display in a separate lines. Then what we can do? Now, print the elements in separate rows. How to print the elements inside that separate rows? Now let's see. I'm indicating system.debug customer code. I want to indicate that customer codes of 0. And then system.debug customer code. Second customer code here. I want to print customer codes of 1. That means every element I'm printing separately. I will show you optimized mechanism also one by one. System.debug customer code. Customer codes of 2. That means third element. I want to print the fourth element. Customer code. Customer codes of 3. And then system.debug customer codes of 4. So in this case here, I want to display each and every element in a separate row. So for that reason, I'm going to be indicating the array name along with the index position. So I want to know array name along with the index position over here. So whatever the array name is available, okay, along with that array name, I'm going to specify the index position based on that I can able to print the elements whatever we have. So now each and every element I'm printing separately. So here I'm indicating that the separate line break. I'm indicating a separate line. Now click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating that array elements. Customer code 5600, 4567, 9900, 5644, and then 7788. Whatever the elements are available inside that array, all the elements are getting visible inside the separate rows. But in this case, what happened? So how many elements that I'm having? 5 elements I have. So now to print these 5 elements, how many lines of code I have written? 5 lines of code I have written. Suppose if the array contains 1000 elements, then do I need to write 1000 lines of code like a system.debug, system.debug, system.debug like 1000 times? No. If I'm writing like that, what will happen? Number of lines of code will be keep on increasing. Number of lines of code will be keep on increasing. So if the number of lines of code is keep on increasing, then it will be looking like as complex. It will occupy more memory. It will take more memory to compile. It will take more time to compile. It will take more time to execute. It will be impacting on my application performance. It will be impacting on my application performance. There is a problem. For that reason here, I don't want to write this same code again and again and again. I want to optimize. How? Now let's see. When you observe this one up to this part here, this entire thing will be same, right? Yes. What is the difference? Just these values are different over here. These other values are different. That's it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, can I pass this values at runtime? Yes, we can pass. How? By using iterative statements. You know how to use iterative statements, how to pass these values. You know that. For that reason, what I want to do is, I don't want to write this the same code repeatedly again and again and again. Just I want to write only once, and then I would like to execute these statements repeatedly till the required number of times by passing this value. So that this value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the values are going to passing here. Then how to do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, in this case, print the elements using for loop. I'm using this for loop over here to print the elements. I'm giving a line break. Here I'm indicating for loop. Now, I'm using this for loop right now in order to print these elements. Then what I need to do, I need to take one counter variable which will be holding this value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 4 only because I'm having 4 elements are available. I want to use this for integer counter equals to 0 because it is starting from 0, so that I'm initializing the variable value with 0. Counter less than or equals to 4. That means I'm indicating that this has to be returned repeatedly, go till it is reaching to 4. Every time the value will be incrementing by what? 1. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that I would like to increment the value by 1. Counter plus plus. Okay, so now here I'm using the for loop. Instead of writing this same system.debug, system.debug, system.debug for 5 times, just I'm writing only once over here. I would like to write system.debug. I'm indicating customer code is I want to print. How can we print this value? By using array name along with index position. What is the array name? Customer codes of index position. What is the index position variable value? Counter, so that we can specify counter simply. That's it. Over. Instead of writing this 5 lines of code, simply we can able to write 1 line of code, and then same statement we can keep on iterate or execute repeatedly till the condition is getting satisfied. Till the condition gets satisfied, we can able to iterate these statements as well. That facility is available. Now, so in this case, what I want to do is I would like to iterate these statements repeatedly here. I want to iterate these statements repeatedly till 4 times. So 0 to 4, that means 5 times it will be executing that. So initially counter value equals to 0. It will check the condition. 0 less than or equals to 4, condition is true. It will be collecting customer codes of 0. So the value will be, first value will be collected. Then counter value will be incrementing by 1. So 1 less than or equals to 4, condition is true, customer codes of 1. So it will be collecting that. Like that, the loop will be iterating till 5 times. So 0 to 4. Every time it is printing that value over here. So that we can optimize that code by using for loop. Now click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now by using for loop also we are able to print customer code values. 5600 4567 9900 5644 7788, all the elements values we can able to print. Okay, now let me show you one more mechanism. Print the elements by using enhanced for loop. So now what is this normal for loop? In this normal for loop, we are going to be defining a variable and initializing the variable with some value. That means this is nothing but your index positions. We are going to be, okay, checking the condition every time. And then every time I'm incrementing the value by 1. That means what? We are going to be defining the variable and initializing the variable with some value. And then it is going to be checking the condition. And then it is going to be incrementing or decrementing the value by 1 every time over. But in this case, when coming to the enhanced for loop, we can avoid all these things also. We no need to specify the condition. We no need to increment or decrement the value. We no need to initialize the variable. Everything will be taken care by Salesforce automatically by default. These conditions, incremental, decremental, everything will be taken care by Salesforce itself. Then how can we do that? Now let's see. I'm indicating this system that I'm giving a line break over here. Now, I want to use that for loop. Simple concept here. And as part of enhancer for loop. Simply go to the like as a normal for loop, make a column in the middle. Okay, in the middle, make a column. So you will be having right side, you will be having left side. Two sides are available. In the right side, specify the data source. That means where exactly the elements are there. Where is the elements inside my array? What is my array name? Customer quotes. Customer quotes. Okay, customer quotes. This is my array name where exactly the elements are available. So what type of elements are there? Integer type of elements. So just to define one integer variable. Integer, I'm indicating that simply code. That's it. Over. System dot debug. I'm indicating customer code value. Okay, just you can print that. Oh, that's it. Over. No need of indexes. No need to define the variables. No need to verify the conditions. No need to increment or decrement. Everything will be taken care of by Salesforce. That means, suppose if anybody is aware of Java or .NET, there you will be having a for loop called as for each statement. Exactly similar way, like as for each statement we are having enhanced for loop in Salesforce. Always in the entire development we are using enhanced for loop only, not normal for loop. Normal for loop very less. Always will go with that enhanced for loop concept. So that most importantly, you will be having that features. If condition, enhanced for loop, collection, these are the base. If you know these three, development will be very simple, very easy. You know if condition, now you know that enhancer for loop also. That means for each and every integer element, okay, inside the customer codes collection, so it will go to the customer codes collection. In this one, whatever the first element is available, it will collect the first element, store inside this variable, and this value will be getting printed here. After that, it will go to that second element here, collect the second element, place inside the code variable, and then printing that, and then third element, and then fourth element. Like that, it will be iterating automatically till the collection has been end. Till it is reaching to the last element inside the collection, it will be iterating automatically by default. Once all the elements have been printed, it will stop printing from there onwards. This is the internal concept of arrays as part of enhanced for loops also. We no need to initialize the variable, no need to verify the condition, no need to increment or decrement the values. Everything will be taken care by Salesforce automatically by default. Okay, now let me execute this piece of code. Let's see the results. Select the debug only checkbox. Now we can see the same results over here also. Okay, multiple ways I showed you. First way is all the elements in one way, one line, and then second way is normal blind statements one by one, one by one, one by one, by using the multiple lines of code, and then for loop, and then enhanced for loop. Multiple ways I showed you in order to print that elements here, so that we can reduce the number of lines of code. Okay. Now,
so Feroz, like if I want to print only first two and last two, should I use if condition?
Yes, you have to use that if conditions also inside this.
Okay. Got it.
Now, so let me take one more small use case. Second one. Let's take one more example how to deal with string elements here. I want to take an array to store some string elements, but here what I want to do is I want to assign the elements. Let's say how can we define a string type of element here. I would like to store a collection of string elements inside my array, and then how can we store, how can we print. But now my requirement is I don't want to assign the values separately. Upon defining the array itself, I would like to assign a collection of elements. But here what I did, I have defined the array first, which will be having the null values, and then I'm assigning every element separately here in a separate row. Suppose if the array size is 100, if I want to store 100 elements, then do I need to write 100 lines of code like this? Customer codes of 0 equals to so and so value, customer codes of 1, customer codes of 2, 3, 4, like that up to 1000? No, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my space also. I don't want to occupy more memory space. I want to make that code simple. How can we do that? Let's see. Let me take a small use case. Define an array to manage a collection of string elements. Define an array to manage a collection of string elements and assign the elements upon defining an array. Assign the elements upon defining the array. Then how can we do that? Now let me show you practically. What type of array you want to define? String type of array. So string array, I'm indicating like some country codes. Some country codes equals to new string. Here we need to specify the size, right? I don't want to specify. I want to store the elements directly over here. So that I'm indicating flower braces. In this flower braces, you can specify the elements here. What type of element string? That's what we are enclosing in single quote. Okay, I'm defining the array. Upon defining the array itself, we can assign all the elements here, like as some India, USA, UK, Japan, China, Germany, Middle East. These are the elements out there. That means what? In one shot, I have defined, I have initialized. Everything has been done. In a single line itself, I have defined the array. I have stored the elements also inside that array. I did both the things in one shot. Now I want to print the elements here. How to print the elements? By using the enhanced for loop. How can we do that? We can use for. Use that colon inside this in the middle. In the right side, what we can specify collection name. That means array name. What is that array name? Country codes. What type of elements are there? String elements. String, I'm indicating like some kind of code or country name, anything here. So print the value directly. Country name is I want to print simply 4. That means whatever the variable that I have defined over here, and then the left side. So now that name can print it directly. That means what, instead of using the indexes directly, it is pointing to the value directly. From there, we can able to get the element. We can print this element value inside your debug log file wherever you want. This is the functionality of array. Suppose if you want to store some integer elements over here, so what we can do, I'm indicating integer. I would like to specify that. Now I would like to specify employee codes equals to new integer. Okay, we can specify the elements also inside this. We can specify the elements inside just like 1001, 1002. Now 1001, 1002, 1003, 1005, 5600. These are the elements. These are numerical values, so directly we can specify. Directly we can print. How can we print integer? Integer code from employee codes. Print the employee code directly. Employee code is, I would like to print that code simply. That's it. Over. This is how we can able to use the thing, but very, very shortcut.
So
This
we
is the
no
string
need to
array.
give array size, sir.
Sorry?
We no need to give array size.
No, no need to specify array size. Then how it will be considering what are the elements that you are defining over here? It will identify how many elements are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will define the array size as 7 automatically by Salesforce itself. What are the elements that you are giving? It will counting the elements based on that array size will be preparing by Salesforce automatically. We no need to give any size over here. Okay. Now, this is the way we are going to be defining the array, and then upon defining the array itself, we can able to store the elements inside this. Now, let me execute this one. Here I'm giving that break line. Click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating whatever the elements are available, each and every element will be getting printed one by one, one by one, one by one. All the employee codes are also printing over here so that we can see the complete results. String elements also we can manage, integer elements also we can manage inside this. This is how we are going to be using arrays and enhanced for loops inside your Apex program. Now, let me give you some assignments on this. The first one. Write an Apex program to manage a collection of employee names. Write an Apex program to manage a collection of employee names by using arrays. By using arrays, I would like to manage a collection of elements. Second one, write an Apex program to manage a collection of different names by using arrays. Third one, write an Apex program to manage a collection of account numbers by using arrays. Numerical elements. Fourth one, Write an Apex program to manage a collection of record IDs by using arrays. These are the 4 assignments. Try these 4 assignments today, and then in the tomorrow session we'll see the concept of object-oriented programming. With this one, we are done with the fundamental basics. So as of now, we have done the fundamental basics concepts, and then tomorrow we'll see the concept of object-oriented programming, and then we'll see what exactly the object-oriented programming language, what are the various principles are available as part of this object-oriented programming language, and then how can we use this object-oriented programming language principles. We'll see practically, and from there we'll see the concept of classes and objects, and then how to manage the records through programming by creating the classes, how to insert the records, how to update the record, delete the record through programming. We'll see all the operations for them. Tomorrow also we are having the session as usual at the same time. You'll be having both admin session, development session, both is available for you as usual. 6 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9 we are having the session as usual.